be thankful for. Today I want us to look at a thought about boundaries. What is a boundary, Chris? Sounds like a make of another.
Yeah, it's a limit of
Oh, that's a limit.
something.
When I was a boy, we used to draw a line. We dare each other to cross that line. If you cross that line, you're gonna fight. I mean, children play, and we do stuff like this. And I'd draw a line, and say, Larry, a friend of mine, I'd draw a line, and I said, Larry, cross that line. And he'd draw a line, you don't cross this line. And we sat there, and after a while, I had to cross that line. And we'd tangle it. And so that's one way that it's a boundary or a border or a limit. And whenever I went bow hunting, several years back now, because I hadn't bow hunted the last 2 years because of the problems I had with my health. But last time I went bow hunting, one of the last times, not the last, but next to the last, there was signs up there at Laura Walker State Park. Y'all seen them, I'm sure, the little yellow signs. It says, archery hunting only, and boundary. And it had boundary there. Well, Brother David and I were scouting it out, and I saw these signs. And that was telling me, inside this land here, this wildlife management land, you can hunt with archery and no guns at all. But that's what we were doing. We were going archery hunt. And then I went outside the perimeter of the place and went all around it looking for deer tracks and stuff where they're crossing the road to go into that boundary where the archery only was. And it had those signs there, boundary. That meant this is as far as you can go now with other than archery. So there's boundaries, inside boundaries, and there's outside boundaries. And then another boundary that I experienced was my grandson. Janice and I went to Folkestone to watch my grandson play tennis. I know nothing about tennis. I know nothing about scoring on tennis. All I know is they say love once in a while. And other than that, I get confused. So I called after I watched that for about 2 hours and a half or so. I called my grandson over at Gruston. I said, are there boundaries like in football? On it? He said, yes, sir, they have boundaries. I said, some people play here for a while and then they'll switch in. I said, now I can understand in football, every quarter they'll switch in. So there's boundaries there. And so, but I had an experience this week about a boundary that Janice and I, telling Brother Terry back there, I had an unusual experience of something leaving its boundary. Janice and I were fixing to go to town. And what time in the morning was it? About 8, 10 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, she walks out, she says, there's goats in the yard everywhere. I went out there and sure enough, there was billy goats, there's all kind of goats out there. So they had went over to Nina's house next door. She's got these expensive flower orchids with all these, and they were just eating them up. And I took my Jeep and run them off, run them out there. And then they started jumping up on top of my hood of my Jeep. And that draws the line. Their boundaries was over. But anyway, we finally herded them things up, all but one. We couldn't get that one to go in the pen. And Janice was the good shepherd of us, yes. She said, let's try this. We'll open the gate, and I'll pat my thigh, and they'll follow me. I said, that ain't going to work. Sure enough, she was patting on the side there, and the goats were following them, except for one. And that's the one that tried to get me. He had horns that long, it looked like. But anyway, we finally got them. But the point is, there's boundaries. There's in boundaries. Those goats had it made inside the boundaries where they're supposed to be. They had plenty of food, plenty of water, plenty of everything. But no, the grass was greener on the other side. You've always heard that about cows. They stick their head through the fence, and the grass is, there's boundaries. Now, as I told you about there's inside boundaries and outside boundaries. A boundary is, in my words, is just as far as you can go. As far as you can go. But I want to look at two different kinds of boundaries. One, God has boundaries. God, as long as we stay in the boundaries of God, we have the abundant life, the crown of life, the victorious life of Jesus, and the kingdom, in other words. If we stay inside the boundaries, God has boundaries. Well, what is some of the boundaries that God has? Anybody? Ten Commandments, boundaries? God laid down some boundaries for us to follow after, and so we're to follow after the boundaries of God. Turn back to Numbers 20 verses 8 through 13. We're going to read that. Think about boundaries. There's good boundaries and there's bad boundaries too. Brother Chris, I'm not reading Numbers chapter 20, starting on 8th verse, and read through 13 there. Think about boundaries or limits, or as far as you can go.
Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock. So thou shalt give them the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, you rebels, lest we fetch you water out of this rock. And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified in them.
Well, that's far enough. You see here where he got angry? Was he getting out of bounds when he was there? The Lord told him something to do. He told him, he said, you speak to the rock. I think it's in verse 11. Moses lifted his hand, and he smote the rock. Okay, the Lord told him to speak to the rock, didn't he? Well, he was getting out of bounds because of his anger, and so, but he still was a believer of God, wasn't he? Can we go astray as a child of God? Get out of bounds in different ways? Absolutely. Over in Galatians, the book of Galatians, chapter 5, it says if you're an adulteress or a drunkard or a railer, it gives a list there of what the world offers you. The world wants you to be on drugs. The world wants you to be on alcohol. The world wants you. That's why he says in 1 John 2:15, and I use it all the time, there's a boundary there. Love not the world, or the things in the world, or the love of the Father is not in you. Now, if we do those things, we have went out of bounds. And what does men love more than darkness? I mean, light. Darkness, I give you an answer, didn't I? That's kind of like a pop quiz there I messed up on. But men love darkness more than they love light. So you can get out of bounds just like that. Those goats was out of bounds, and they have boundaries in tennis or football. Well, in a spiritual way, we also can get out of bounds. And that's what Moses did. He did not do what the Lord told him. How many times are we like that? Do we need to examine ourselves? Do we need to look at ourselves and say, okay, I've done wrong here. I'm out of bounds. God doesn't want me to do this. God would rather me do this. Well, we're getting out of bounds when we don't do exactly what God said to do. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26. Matthew chapter 26. The Word of God, Christy, you want to read? It hurt your throat? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
read, let's think about this man here that was really dedicated man of God, but something happened. He got out of bounds. Turn to Matthew 26 and read through 69.
Starting in what verse?
Start with verse 69 and read through 75, I guess.
Okay. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. Then he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were there, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered what the word of Jesus, which had said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly.
Okay, Peter walked with Christ, didn't he? Peter knew everything about Christ because he was preaching and teaching with Christ. He was walking with Christ. But Peter got out of bounds. What made him get out of bounds?
Fear of men.
Fear. Fear of men. Okay. Those men, two damsels sold Peter. He was farther than the rest. And then they were going to kill Christ. And the Lord told him, he said, you're going to deny me thrice. That means 3 times. Lord, you're not correct on that. I will never deny you. Did he deny him? 3 times. He said, Peter, you walk with me. I'll give you power to heal. I've did these things. But you're going to still deny me. You're going to get out of bounds. You're not going to be spiritually minded. Lord, not me. You not be thinking about somebody else. But he denied him. He said, there was a damsel, a young child, I assume was a girl, damsel, said, hey, your voice is telling on my words. Yeah, you're going to deny Christ. And you were one of them. And out of fear, like Brother Chris says, he denied Christ 3 times. And then in verse 74 and 75 it says, then he began to make to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. The same man of God that was walking with Christ and all that, said he would never deny Christ, went out cursing, what it says here, he cursing and swearing, I know not the man, and immediately something happened. The chicken cock-a-doodle-doo. What made him cry? He knew that he was out of bounds. He knew that he was not doing the will of God. And he went out crying and weeping and thank the Lord that the Lord blessed him again. But we're just like Peter was, out of bounds. In 2 Samuel, if you would turn, we're just going to read 5 verses. Judy, you feel like reading?
Yeah.
Turn to 2 Samuel, chapter 11, and start with verse 1. And think about inbound and out of bounds.
What chapter?
Pardon?
What chapter?
11th chapter, 2 Samuel 11, start with verse 1.
And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him in all Israel. And they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanliness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house, and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house.
Okay, that's far enough. What were the inbounds and out of bounds in this chapter here, this verses here? That David, first of all, was supposed to go somewhere. Pretty good.
Supposed to go to battle.
He was supposed to, the kings, it says, were to go to battle. And he wasn't much of a king at this point. He stayed back, and he sent Uriah the Hittite out with his army. And David become a liar and a murderer. He was getting out of bounds bad. He was a king now of Israel. And David saw a woman out there, and he lusted after that woman. What's the three beginnings of sin? The lust of the eyes, he saw her. The lust of the flesh, he desired her. And the pride of life. I'm the king, and I can do what I want to. If I want to stay back, I'm going to stay back. He was getting out of bounds. He was getting far out of bounds. He was supposed to go to battle. He lusted after Bathsheba, and he took her. And then what happened? Uriah the Hittite come back, and he would. If you read the rest of the story, Paul Harvey used to say on the radio here, the rest of the story was after he had done all these things and got out of bounds, that he was losing it all because he knew better. How many times we love things or see things? Many times in the Bible teaching, the very beginning of time, that's what Adam and Eve did. They took, they saw, they looked at the fruit, they took it, and then they lost it all because they went out of bounds. Achan done the same thing. Achan saw the gold. Achan took the gold, and he hid it. And what good was it? Nothing. But he went out of bounds. All those went out of bounds. Moses went out of bounds by anger, striking the rock. You see how you can be in bounds or out of bounds with God? Let's think about Saul. Saul did something terrible. He was out of bounds from the very beginning when they first met. You hear about Saul of Tarsus. Saul was killing Christians. He was out of bounds. He was a child of God now that's way out of bounds. But he thought God, he was doing God a favor. All right, God, I'm killing all these Christians, and I'm supposed to be doing it, but he didn't realize he was out of bounds. But then the Lord struck him down. And I'm going to try to go to that in just a second about how we get struck down if we don't stay in bounds. He was struck down, and he said, Lord, who art thou? He said, I'm Jesus whom you persecuted. And he saw the light. And the Lord got in, and he went back, and his heart was started doing what was right. He wrote most of the New Testament. Saul was called Paul then. And he was out of bounds, but then he wound up in bounds and wrote most of the New Testament by the inspiration of God. But he was very much out of bounds, and he was killing Christians, and he was brought down. But some that stayed in bounds. Who's some that stayed in bounds? We've been talking about some that didn't stay in bounds.
Job.
Job was a very faithful man. You can go back to the book of Hebrews and read about the different ones they called heroes of faith. Job exercised his faith. The devil come to him and tried to tempt him, didn't he? Lord, he said, just drop the hedge. Right, it come down to the point after it had boils on him and all these things. And he said, the devil said, just drop the hedge on him. And God said, okay, I'll let you test him that way if you want to. Job was a faithful man of God. Now, he went through a lot of trouble, and I'm sure he denied a little bit something along the road, but the main point was he was back in bounds, and he stayed there. Job was tested. Abraham was tested by offering his son, faithful man of God. In Matthew chapter 7 and 13 and 14, Chris, read that for us. There's some ways we can go inbound or out of bounds, and you tell me which one was inbound and which one wasn't. Matthew chapter 7, 13 and 14.
Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it.
Okay, that's far enough. Which one of them is inbound and which one's out of bounds, Chris?
One in verse 14, the straight and narrow way.
That's right. It's hard to enter the kingdom now and enter that life that we talked about earlier, abundant life, crown of life, victorious life, and all that. But there's two ways there. There's two boundaries. One boundary is to go the straight way, which is hard, but in the long run, you enter that life, the kingdom. Now, if you go the other way, you're out of bounds, aren't you? You're away from God. And you love worldly things more than you do the love of God. So you're out of bounds. You're inbound or out of bounds. Now let's think about another border, and I meant to mention this earlier. Moses saw something in Exodus 3, 1 through 5. Janice, how about reading Exodus 3, 1 through 5? Moses saw something, and I see here something that may be very spiritually you may want to look at. Exodus.
Okay. Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert, and came to the mountain of God, even to Horeb. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush, and he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
All right, that would have got my attention. If I've seen a bush, now I've seen the swamp catch on fire, and it consumed everything, just kept going, and they'd be trying to have it. But this particular bush here, or tree, it didn't go out. It was just burning. You see that thing way off, and I can just picture him standing out there with all them sheep. They look at, hey, there's a bush on fire, and I've been watching it for a while, and it ain't burning up. So I got to investigate this. So he heads over toward it, And we get close to it, the angel of the Lord said, take off your shoes. You're on what? Holy ground. Now, I see a boundary here. You can go into a boundary, or you can, some boundaries you can't go into, and some you can. And when he took his shoes off, to me, he's saying he put off the old and put on the new. And he was in there, and he took his shoes off because he was on holy ground. That's, to me, that represents taking off shoes because it represents taking off the old and putting on the new. And that's, we can look at that in a spiritual way, saying I'm inside the boundary because I'm on holy ground. Sometimes we're not on holy ground, are we? Sometimes we are outside, like we mentioned over in Galatians. You can be a child of God and still the boundaries, you can be out of bounds. And there's usually a penalty when you have out of bounds. In football, whatever. Spiritually, you can be out of bounds. And so over in Exodus, it teaches us about the landmarks. Read Exodus 19, 12, and 13, Chris. There's a boundary here.
Exodus 19, what?
19, 12, and 13.
And thou shalt set bounds unto the people round about.
Set what? Bounds. Okay.
Saying, take heed to yourselves, that ye may not go up into the mount, or touch the border of it. Whoso touches the mount shall be surely put to death.
Is that a serious matter?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be wanting to touch no mountain. And then you read later on how the many were, but it's instant death if they disobeyed there and went out of bounds. So I pray the Lord will look at this thought and think about more and more of these different boundaries that you can look at on there. Nothing else, Brother Christian, just listen.